Hello, and welcome to another episode of Sincerely Agile with Mary. Today, I have the lovely Tommie Edwards, and we're going to be talking about the future of work. And I'm just going to invite her to the podcast. Hello, Tommie. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Mary. Thanks for having me. I've been a fan of your podcast for a while now. So
Oh,
really, I get to be a guest on it. That's really amazing.
absolutely. And we're just excited to have you on our podcast because I've been wanting you here for a while. But you being a serial entrepreneur, it hasn't been easy to track you, but finally we did. And it is, it's just amazing to have you here today. Now, I have your brief bio, but before I read that out, we stream on Facebook, we stream on LinkedIn, and we stream on YouTube, and we have a couple of people join us already. And sometimes they may have their own questions as well. But before I dig into the questions, let me read out your bio. First child in a family of four, she was born in Nigeria to an engineer and midwife who were employees by day and entrepreneurs by night, setting the stage for what would become her captivating journey into the world of entrepreneurship. Tommie embarked on her entrepreneurial journey at the age of 16, entrusted with the responsibility of overseeing various businesses whenever her mother was away. She quickly found her self trust into a leadership role, becoming an interim boss for a water bagging factory and a bustling supermarket with a team of 12 staff. Now, at the age of 16, boss lady at the age of 16, how did you manage that?
Well, at the end of the day, in the beginning, it was more like, oh my gosh, why did she do this? And then quickly, I noticed that she saw qualities in me that I didn't see in myself, but I then just had to sink or swim.
Yeah,
And it was a privilege, the fact that she could trust pretty much her dearest business with me for 6 months.
yeah.
So I obviously had to go back into the drawing board, really try to understand, okay, what exactly this is just buying and selling. It's all about the demand and supply. So I think on that aspect, I did quite well. But then it's all about the people management. And these are I think my mom typically tells me treat people the way you like to be treated.
Absolutely.
So I tapped into that, and we smile, we laugh, but then we point out mistakes as well. And I think with that, I got very comfortable, and people got comfortable with talking to me and not really looking at me as, oh, who is this very small girl? It's just a matter of you being emphatic when you have to be, but then you're being yourself throughout. And I think that was what saw me through that area.
Fantastic. But how did you engage with the staff, though? I mean, I'm sure some of them were probably old enough to be your mother.
All of them were. It's not even some.
So, how did you engage with them?
So there's always been this mutual respect thing. I mean, I know. So this is back in Nigeria where we call everybody that is now our uncle, uncles, and so you still do the whole uncle thing.
Yeah,
And
but you
it's
get
like
the job done.
exactly. And then I'm like, oh, I just have to report it. If an incident happened, oh no, I just have to report it. So because my dad was around, but he was not there every day, he has to go to work. So they understand that, oh, in as much as she's in charge, she still has someone that she could escalate this whatever issue to. So I think
Yeah.
everybody just kind of like behaved themselves. But apart from even that, they were all like very, very proud of what I was doing. They were excited that I'm taking this on, and they all wanted me to succeed. So I think that made it a lot easier. I try to also get their buy-in into things. So it's like, oh, people are asking for Ribena and we don't stock Ribena, but I found a supplier that stock Ribena at this price. What do you think? I already know what I'm going to do, but I want them to feel like the answer came from them.
Wow.
So with that, they're like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. In fact, this person came, this person wanted this, that." I'm like, "You see, so we should get it right." They're like, "Let's get it." And I think I learned that okay, when you make people feel like you don't have to always be the right one in the room, you can
Yeah.
come up with your own suggestions, listen to other people, but sometimes throw your suggestion back and let's hear what people have to think and let them own it. And then at the end of the day, you still achieve what you want in the end.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's such an impressive bio. So we're really excited to have you here on Sincerely Agile with Mary. And another thing that is coming up for me in that bio is how it is important as parents, if we have a business, to introduce our children to those businesses, so that
Mm.
they really understand the value of the money that is being earned. It's not just about mommy give me money or daddy give me money. So, I mean, look at how that has shaped, your life essentially, which takes me to the next question. But before I go there, I think we have someone just joined us. Hello, Chanel. Nice. Thank you for it's nice to have you here. Honorable Chukuma, thank you for being here with us this afternoon. So back to my banners, right? Like I said no surprises about what you are doing today. Your leadership and entrepreneurial journey started from your teenage years. Obviously, you've alluded to some of that aspect already. What else can you tell us about that period and about how this journey of you being thrust into it? What else can you share with us?
Okay, yeah. So absolutely, there's no way I start my journey, my story without that basic that period.
Hmm.
So it obviously made me realize that, oh my God, you're an entrepreneur. But I obviously did not know. I didn't, not the name. I just know you like business. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And so I started to find opportunities. The first opportunity I found was when I was depositing money at the bank, and I heard the cashiers or the teller ladies talking about they needed African fabric. And I know where to get African fabric because my friend told me about it in another neighboring country. I'm like, oh my God, told me bridge the gap. And quickly I was able to do that. Then I also came up with like a business model in the process. Now it's making sense. Then I was just doing on the fly. But the business model was okay, do you know what? You could buy two and pay me at the end of the month. Or if you're only buying one, you have to pay me now. So what did that happen? So people started to buy two. People were and before I know what's happening, I took it and then everybody just took everything. And they started to refer me to other banks. And that opened my eyes into if you actually solve a problem for people, they will pay. So
Yes.
find something that it's a real problem and try to solve it. And I kind of like carried that onto the different phases of my life. And I think
Mm,
another place within my life where this came back was when I wanted to come to the UK.
mm.
Coming to the UK for me was not, oh, daddy paying or this and that. It was like, how are you going? You know, when we know, those sort of places. I think, Mary, you're from Nigeria, so you understand
Yes.
what I'm trying to get. You know, those sort of people that you just watch people online and you're like, oh my God, would this ever happen to me? That's
Right.
kind of like my story because I'm like, how do you come out of this? And I went to my dad and I said, I figured everything out, but then I needed the cash.
Yeah.
I already had the school and everything. I'm like, Dad, I want to travel. And it's like, you're having a laugh. How are you going to do this? So this is where the resourcefulness of, all right, tap into yourself. What are you going to do? So I told all my friends, I'm applying for modeling jobs, and everything. Before I know what's happening, everything just came together because I put it out in the air and
Yeah.
everything came together. That year, I was like the cover of Limca, which Coca-Cola just bought at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like Dudu Osun, there was Teju Foams, and I was like on billboards. I took all that money, turned it into pounds, and that was how I told my dad
Wow.
I paid my school fees. So what am I saying here? I learned from that area of, just making something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And that's how I got myself, into the UK.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so that journey, it's always been leading my own self,
Mm-hmm.
understanding the fact that I can make things happen. So because of that, I'm one of those sort of people that you feel like throw me into the desert, I'll find water
You
because
find a way. Yeah.
I just have to be resourceful. I have no other choice. And
Absolutely.
that kind of like carried me through. But at
Mm.
some point, just to let's to just not
Mm-hmm.
go too much into detail because of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think all that has really shaped my leadership skill today. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, I run Tekwanem as the CEO,
Mm-hmm.
and apart from that, I'm also the G20
Yeah.
president for the UK entrepreneurs, and I also run several things on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
side. And it's people are wondering how do you do all of these things?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're all together, they're all intertwined. It's all
Mm-hmm.
about the same Tommy you see here, it's the same Tommy you see there. The context is just slightly different. So
Slightly different.
I understand what sort of leadership I need to turn on at this point and my natural style. But then I also understand when I need to take on a different attribute
Mm-hmm.
because that is what is required. And all
Wow.
of this is based on the different experiences and how that has been shaped time and time and time again. So,
Wow.
I'm hoping that answered your question.
Actually, you sort of touched on that because I was going to ask, what's your default leadership style? I mean, the truth be told, like you just said, different contexts will call for different leadership style. But I was just wondering, what is your default leadership style?
I think if I'm to think about my default, I would say I'm one of those transformational leadership style.
Right.
That's because I find the best out of everything. So if you tell me, oh, something is happening and it's so disastrous, I try to find like what is the good part of it.
Right.
Still acknowledging that there is a part that needs to be sorted, but then let's find what is good from it. Acknowledge that, then now dive into the bit that is not, and then try to, pretty much make lemonade from your lemons, whatever
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. I
So
really love that.
yeah, so it's just leading from the front. I
Mm,
like to do things and make people see that okay, yes, it can be done,
yeah.
and then motivate people that
Yeah.
struggling to get it done. But
Mm,
also, there sometimes you have to. I don't fancy autocratic leadership, but there are
right.
some times where time is of the essence, and that is what is needed. And you
Right.
have to understand this is not your default style, but this is what is needed in order to get this to the next level, and you just have to do that. And there's sometimes where it's all about charisma, and
Yeah.
this is what is needed to take this person to the next level.
Mm,
And you just turn on that motivational part of yourself.
yes.
I'm sure my team will say they've seen all these parts I've talked about at
Hmm.
one point or the other. But the default is always going to be transformational because that's what I believe. I think anyone can change. Anyone is capable of being whatever they want to be, if only they can pay the price.
I like that. I love that. I mean, there are three things you've said here. Talking about paying the price just now. And when you were talking about leadership earlier on, you talked about resourcefulness. And you've also talked about transformational leadership being your default. And that is just awesome because obviously here you are with an agile coach right here, right? We are all about transformation. We are all about trying to bring out the best in people. We believe, seriously that everybody is resourceful. And like you said, it's about, you know, what price are we willing to pay? Okay. I was
Mm.
reading a book recently by Simon Powers, and he said there is no shortage of opportunities, but there's a shortage of people who will apply themselves to the basics of what is needed to be successful. And I totally agree with that. Thank you very, very much. Let's see who else has joined. I'm just trying to see if there are any questions here because, like I said, sometimes we have questions from our audience. Now, you are in the space of shaping the future of work because this is really the gist of the day. You are in the space of shaping the future of work by redefining hiring through Tech 1M. Tell us more about that.
All right, thank you so much for the opportunity. So Tech1M really is a software.
Mhm.
And it's a software that's AI powered, and it's an AI powered recruitment automation and skill assessment software. And we place this software in the hands of businesses for them to be able to attract candidates, to evaluate them, and to hire them. And this is like end to end. So when we say that we're trying to redefine hiring through Tech One, it's because we feel like right now, if you won't believe that 80% of hires actually fail. And this is not me saying this, this is according to a LinkedIn report. And this is because of the recruitment process in itself. Candidates have bad experiences, or a candidate that is not fit for purpose is hired into a role. Within 6 months, they've changed and gone into a different role. Gone are the times where people stay 10, 15 years in one role. Right now, the average is going on to 18 to 24 months as people start to jump. So the time where you need to be able to ensure that you are finding the right person, not just on their skill level, but also on their personality, on their culture, and also on how they're going to fit with other team members within the organization is now extremely crucial. And that's why we've created this software
Yeah.
that allows you to say, okay, this is what I'm looking for. Helping you, the AI helps you in multiple ways. In fact, even creating your job description, then also now giving you the power to be able to analyze that candidate by just asking it questions. So you could just basically ask our AI co-pilot Amy and say, Amy, is Mary a great agile coach? And to
Mm.
say, oh, Mary was in HSBC 2 years ago. She's facilitated. She did because she knows the what a good agile coach should sound like. She facilitates.
Right.
She has proficiencies in Jira. She knows a whole lot about Confluence. She understands how to use Visio and blah 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 blah. Do you understand? And
Right.
now you are like, okay, they're pointing out things that you really like. You can now use that to narrow down people without even knowing what Mary looks like.
Right.
So now you are like, okay, you're taking Mary for who she is, but that is basically on a skill level. How about you now test Mary's personality? How does she like to work? You
Hmm.
could now send Mary for a cognitive test on the same platform by saying,
Right.
to understand her personality traits. How does she handle difficult tasks? What does she do when she's faced with something that she doesn't understand? There's no right or wrong answer, but then a trait of Mary starts to see, you start to see, okay, is this, do I have a lot of people in my team that are like this so they can recognize this and they
Mm.
can easily understand, this sort of traits? Or do I need some people that are stronger in this and not less strong in this? And this is how you are able to now build a team that actually really functions, because people see themselves through other people. And if you are in a team where everybody is an alpha male, then you are not that. You feel slightly intimidated and your best self cannot come out.
Yeah.
So that is what Equanem is doing, is giving them a simple end-to-end for you to be
Hmm.
able to streamline the recruitment process. But then we went further. And this is
Right.
what we are saying, evaluate the candidates not just on the purpose of their skill alone, but in terms of make it, their attitude, their cultural fit, and all of that, while placing generative AI in the middle to make you do things easier.
Wow. So essentially, once they've read through a particular resume and the AI has been able to report on the skills and competencies of this person, you then want to move on to the culture. So you now send this person to take some kind of psychometric test or
So
scenario test.
I'll take it even further. They don't even need to read the resume, because the
Right.
stuff the AI has read the resume for them.
Okay.
What? So let's think about it. The resume is there if you want to read it, but
Yeah.
what are you looking for? Let's
Exactly.
think about it. Do you just like reading? No, you are trying to find something.
Yeah.
Why not just ask what you're trying to find and let it
Right.
answer you if those things exist? And this is why this is an in-house, this is an in-house built lang model that basically is fed with the candidate's details, different things that the candidate does in terms of the complete, like some mock tests. They add some things to their project. They add some things to their portfolio. All of
Mm.
that together is fed into the AI and is bringing more results.
Hmm.
How many times would you create your resume? And if somebody is asking you to talk about yourself, you talk about many things that is not actually inside your resume.
Yeah.
We take all those things you say, we transcribe that into text, we feed that into our vector AI. And before you know what's happening, that starts to become something that the hiring manager can just basically query with voice or with text. And
Wow.
the AI just basically starts to respond to them. And people are like, oh my God, how is this happening? I'm like, yes, because we are giving it the right data and it
Yeah.
keeps learning. And each person has, their data in there. And we're doing this with your consent. That, okay, this is
Mm.
what's going to happen. And
Mm.
so now that you know that, have you found what you're looking for? If you're happy, you could go ahead and schedule an interview. All that is automated. And then now have different people within your organization actually now basically independently rate this person. It gives you an aggregate, and you're like, okay, this is what this causes. It's just more ways for you to actually evaluate and understand. But if you now want to understand this person even further, is if this person is a product designer, are they great at Figma? Do they know how to have great communication skill? You select all of those things and send them for those tests. The result comes out if the person is in the top percentile or the lower percentile. And that allows you to really now see that, okay, I think this is the guy we want to interview. Then you schedule your interview. And people are using it in different ways. I'm just giving you
Absolutely, absolutely.
one sort of
Now,
way.
is the keyword because I know before, even before AI, when you're trying to submit your CV, they will say use certain keywords. Is that also still relevant, or should we even say it's even more relevant now?
I feel like it is relevant. I believe it is still, because at the end of the day, if you're chatting with the AI, it's based on what you prompt it.
Yeah.
because this is where, so if I'm asking facilitation, if there is no facilitation on your CV or something that denotes another, no, this is where AI is smarter than us.
Hmm.
The synonym of facilitation can also come up, if
Yeah.
even if we don't use those words.
Yeah.
But then you need to have described what you've done. And that kind of like helps it to be able to say, do you know what? Even though you just said one line, it can interpret your one line with 10 different things because there are
Yeah.
other meanings to it. And the person starts to have a good understanding of it. And I think this is where the whole non-bias hiring starts to come in because they are seeing people for who they are
Yeah.
and not what they look like.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because obviously we've had so many biases when it comes to recruitment, and this is just one way to, cut that out. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Now, software is eating the world as we know it. You've just talked about Tech 1M. What are employers looking for in the workforce of the future? I mean, we know that Tech 1M is, sifting through, various applications and all of that. But given that software is eating the world, given that everything we do today is running on software, we are here right now having this conversation because of software. What are employers looking for in the workforce of the future?
All right, great question. I think this is where, think about what technology has done. We just need to really think back
Yeah,
20 years ago and we understand, what phones look like
yeah,
and the limitations we could do, and even this conversation probably wouldn't happen like this. I can't even remember when life came out. And this is the advancements of
yeah.
technology. But what employers are really looking at right now, and we have to look at this answer in two ways: of the software in itself and of the people they are hiring to
Mm-hmm,
help them with their own software. So
mm-hmm.
I'll take the first one. The software in itself is they have to be. This is where data privacy has to become very, very key for people because it's all about there's so much big data and transferring of data and so much information are being passed through this software. How do you ensure the integrity of that? How do you ensure things are being encrypted properly? And how do you ensure you want to understand where your things are in the cloud, but how close is it? Are you in Europe and your stuff is pretty much in
Yeah,
Atlanta, or Alaska or somewhere there.
yeah.
So you have to understand where exactly things are. So they are really looking at that. But
Mm-hmm.
also is in terms of it was easier for you to just come up with one easy feature.
Yeah.
That is enough. Right now, the barrier is higher.
Mm,
So there's hardly things that you're going to say you want to create that hasn't been thought about or hasn't been done. A little incremental difference is not enough anymore. You have
mm.
to really set yourself apart and multiple. And those are kind of things that employers are looking for. They want things that could be integrated with the things they're already doing so they don't have to make a massive change. But
Change.
they can see productivity becoming higher just saying yes to your software. So those are kind of like things that we have to be very, very observant when we are building software. Now, ESG is a thing.
Mm.
The software that you've created, how is it helping their ESG reports? How is it helping the principals?
Can
How
you
is
tell us what ESG stands for?
So I believe that is environmental, social, and governance.
Okay.
And so this is where things like your DEI will come under
Right.
the social
Right.
aspect of things.
Right.
Environmental, obviously, like your things or with your climate change and
Mm-hmm.
things like that will
Mm-hmm.
come
Mm-hmm.
under it as well.
Sustainability.
Sustainability in
Yeah.
general, exactly, will come under environmental. So now it's not just cool that I have built a software. No, what is it doing for the environment?
Mm.
How is it making sure that socially it's including everybody?
Yeah.
And how are you, how are you understanding the governance aspect of this? So the standard has become a whole lot higher.
Higher.
And this is what we are seeing for the softwares that couple. But then on the other hand, every company now has to be a tech company one way or the other.
Yeah.
So because technology has come to play and is making things more productive, more faster. Yeah, it has its own issues, and we still have to do that in an ethical way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like now employers want to understand what proficiency a talent has in technology.
Mm-hmm.
How well can you adapt with change because
Mm-hmm.
these changes are rapid.
Rapid.
It is shocking that ChatGPT is only 1 year old since
Yeah.
it's open. And it's just shocking that it's just 1 year, but it's revolutionized a whole lot of things.
It has.
And it's just going to become faster. And when I'm saying it's going, I mean like the speed at which technology changes things. So employers want people that can adapt to change. They
Mhm.
want people that understand proficiencies, and they want people that they can bring suggestions that can take them to the next level, so they don't get eradicated by new entrants into the market. And I think those are kind of like things that we're seeing right now in those sort of workforce.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, software for everything. Everything is, even our homes, we have smart homes these days. So definitely, and with the rate of change, employers are definitely looking for people who are creative, people who can think on their toes, people who can solve problems,
Yep.
problem
No, it's not
solvers.
just they don't want a yes, yes. No
Mm,
one wants a yes, my yes, sir.
yeah, yeah,
It's more like, oh, have we tried this? It's more like
yes,
bring your own thing to the. You are saying something somewhere else. Be able to. They want people that could think outside the box, and
absolutely.
yeah, and those are kind of like things that we're seeing. It's not just the technical skills or your skill. It's all about your soft skill as well.
As well.
You can influence other people to see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Being able to disrupt, being able to ask questions, being able to, question the status quo. Okay, we've always done it like this, but have we tried this? Can we consider that? Like you said, you're not looking for yes men. But then again, the environment has got to be conducive for
True.
people to be able to bring their whole selves to work, or be able to ask those kind of probing questions, or try to disrupt the status quo. And that is why, leadership is also quite important. We can talk about technology all day long, but we also need the right leadership, even to use the technology. Because think
Absolutely.
about AI. Imagine, I saw one funny thing there. This was a skit anyway, and it was like, "Oh, I've done my dissertation." Of course, it was done by AI, something like that. So the ethical aspect of things needs to be thought of,
Yeah.
and that is again where leadership also comes in. Because I'm of the opinion anyway. I mean, I come from technology. I appreciate technology, but I also believe that we need to be very, very ethical about it. We
Mm.
can't just use technology. We can't just do everything just because it's possible with technology, if you see what I mean.
I,
I,
I
I, yeah,
I agree, and I think that it's dangerous
yeah, it can be.
if we don't consider the ethical part of
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
And it's not just even plagiarism; it goes deeper than that.
yes. Yeah, I was just using that as an example, but it can be
Yeah,
much, much deeper.
but that's
Yeah,
a great example. That's
yeah,
something pretty
yeah,
much everybody does.
yeah, yeah,
But then it's all about now really understanding that this could be harmful. There's a whole lot of deep fakes. You are not there, but you are there,
yeah,
and
exactly.
it's scary to think about.
It is scary. It is
So
scary. Where you can be cloned to be saying something you never
yeah,
said. You were
yeah,
never there. You never
exactly,
said it, but this person looks like you. This person sounds like you. It is
exactly.
scary.
And people tend to say, "Oh, if the internet says it's right, then it's right," and then you're just, we
Yeah,
will get to a level where we don't even know what the truth is anymore. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Now, let me take you back a couple of years.
mm,
COVID was an interesting one. It was a period of collective challenge, obviously, and we all had to change by force. A lot of things had to change by force. Some people were already changing, and because some people and some businesses were already responsive to change, it wasn't so painful for them. But for those who don't like change, it becomes a problem. For you, obviously a woman in technology, a serial entrepreneur, what was that period like, like for you business wise, and how did you navigate that? It'll be interesting to know.
okay, so great question. So I think for us, COVID in the beginning was like, oh my God, what is this? And as at then, I had TedBrief, which is my other company, which basically what we do is we develop software for businesses and also do digital marketing through our platform called TedBrief Hub.
Right.
Now, you just started to see companies, and this is like they have like monthly subscriptions on things. You started to see people saying, "Oh, I don't know what is going to happen." Lots of customers. At least we had about 75% of the customers basically turned off their subscription, and I'm like, "What? We have about 32 employees. How do we pay them?"
Pay them.
And I remember that very hard conversation of, guys, we might be in trouble. And this was like in the beginning. We need to start to think of ways out of the box. Maybe people are going to take half salary and then we'll figure out what's happening. So it was one of the hardest times. But then I feel like what really gave us a lifeline was when the government stepped in to say you could get a bounce back loan. So we started to see many businesses get bounce back loan. Because they did, they wanted to now, the only way they could spend it is through technology. Because think about it, and we were just rightly positioned. This is what we've been doing before COVID. So we
Exactly.
just saw an influx of customers. So people were coming left, right, center. People wanted to build software. Some people wanted to do websites. Some people wanted us to do some consult. It was just so many things started to come, and that
Mm.
took our business to the next level.
Wow.
But in as much as we got to the level where this business that had been bootstrapping actually blew into a seven-figure revenue.
Wow.
And then I'm like, oh my God, we don't have enough talent to keep taking all this because the
Jobs.
platform
Yeah.
was too full. And that was when my first time of stepping into the ed tech kind of
Yeah.
arena. I'm like, okay, what if I jump? I've been in tech for over a decade. What if I jump on a screen and actually teach people what it takes to become a seasoned business analyst? Because we really needed that. And so when people were saying Happy New Year, Merry Christmas on 2020, I was busy recording videos.
Yeah.
And that allowed us to get into that sort of space. And before I know what's happening, we started to offer boot camps to people. But we gave it out for free because
Mm.
many people needed things then. And what we just really wanted was for people to learn, for them to be able to have work experiences, and for them
Yeah.
to be able to own a skill for themselves.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll turn around
Yeah.
and maybe we'll be able to hire some of them.
Exactly.
It was incredible what we saw.
Mm.
And I
Wow.
think that was what started to make us see that, oh, wow, there's something here.
Hmm.
And that was what laid the path for us to now go full blown ed tech. And we created Tech One initially as an ed tech platform. And then
Right.
later on, we saw that, do you know what? It's not just teaching them, it's also about getting them hired. But
Exactly.
yes, but this recruitment process is completely broken. Then we decided to now solve the recruitment process, and while we continue to work with people that
Hmm.
are empowering and accelerating people's careers.
Mm. That's such a beautiful ecosystem. From what I hear you say, you're training. You also have a company that develops software, right? You have all this digital marketing stuff as well. And you also have a recruitment company. So essentially, people could come to you, get trained, get some work experience, and potentially be employable.
That exactly. That was what happened to at least 12 people because we ended up hiring at least 12 people
Yeah.
from the process.
Yeah.
And
Fantastic.
they came to us, they learned, they got
Hmm.
work experience, we hired them. And we still have
Mm.
some of them today. And
Fantastic.
other companies were able to do the same as well, and we're
Hmm.
able to hire them. And that was what we saw then.
Yeah, because that's always the gap from, having the training to actually having the opportunity to have that hands-on experience and feel confident to go into the workforce. Fantastic. You're a busy woman.
I am.
Now, you've talked about AI. Let me see what this question is. AI tools are here to stay and growing. What does this mean for the tech space and employment in general? And I ask this question because some people are like, my work is going to AI. I'm going to be unemployed. People are scared. Do people need to be scared?
So I don't think people need to be scared, but then there's still something that says, depending on the type of work you're doing, if your work is uh, okay, I have to be careful.
If it's repeatable, if it can be automated,
If it doesn't require a lot of
a
thinking,
lot of thinking.
you know, then you have issues. Then things.
Exactly.
But then I feel like, and this is why I try to tell people. I'll give an example. People say, all the content writers are in trouble. No, not exactly.
Mm.
Because yes, it can write a whole lot for you,
Hmm.
but then there's still the you aspect of it in terms of there's a way your brand speaks.
Yeah,
Yes, AI can learn the way your brand speaks. It's super smart. It can
honestly.
really learn the way your brand speaks, but then there's still going to be the person that still has to make sure that the right people. This is getting to the right audience,
Mm,
that sort of
mm,
way. So there are so many aspects that is going to change,
mm.
but it's also going to create brand new jobs.
That is the opportunity right there.
So it's like, for before the whole AI pretty much mainstream, we didn't think of prompt engineering as a job.
Hmm.
Now me and you can have the same ChatGPT, but I can get a better result by somebody. You can get a better result than me if you
Yeah.
know how to prompt better.
If you know how to prompt better, absolutely. I was on a training recently with Abiba Balogun, and she was talking about the result. I mean, you know how we say garbage in, garbage out, right?
Exactly.
Obviously, if you prompt it well with the right question, then you're sure to get the right output. So yeah,
Exactly.
that is so true.
So that's something that is brand new. But then there will be there's no point in doing repetitive things. I'll give an
Hmm.
example. How many job descriptions are out there? That's a lot. Why should
Yeah.
I spend? Some people, you see that is somebody's job
Yeah.
to write job descriptions.
Yes.
Check it out. So right now, instead of you having two people, one person write, one person check, why don't you make an AI write, then this person checks for accuracy? Because at the end of the day, you still have to understand that this is accurate before it's out there, and
Yes.
the things that you're looking for. So what I would say to people out there is that I feel like, yes, AI is here to make a lot of things that we do that
Mm-hmm.
are mundane.
Mm-hmm.
They're making them a whole lot easier so that we can get the best part of ourselves out there. So I feel
Absolutely.
because some parts of AI exist, I can spend my time doing more things, which makes me
Yeah.
even super more intelligent. It
Yes.
allows me to be able to put a whole I'm getting, how would I put it, 24 hours becomes longer because I
Exactly.
spent some time trying to do this. And now that is now like a shortcut because I
Mm-hmm.
have this bit has been done for
Mm-hmm.
me. I can just basically glance through, and
Mm-hmm.
now, okay, I'm fine with this. I can then spend my time doing more things. So I feel like people need to start to look at what are the opportunities of the future and start to
Yeah.
find a way to learn skills that allows you to be more relevant within those periods. Is it going to take away jobs? Yes, but it depends. It's not all types of jobs that's going to
Mm-hmm.
take away.
Yeah, but the thing is, like you said at the beginning, it's going to take away some jobs, but it's going to create even more jobs. So
Exactly.
the people should get busy upskilling, learning new stuff, and upskilling. That is just it.
100%. It's like you're saying agile and agile methodology. Yes,
Hmm.
you can learn agile methodology, but can you apply it?
Exactly.
All of that is something that, okay, so however the reading or the help me write this or help me, there still has to be the doing of it. And you
Absolutely.
should upskill yourself to be those kind of people that are called upon when that is there. And I think
Yeah.
with that, people, the sky is the limit on what can really happen. And I'm very, very excited to see the new jobs of the future, what that's going to look like, because it seems like an exciting one. For as long as we keep a tab on the whole ethical aspect of things, I feel like
Absolutely.
the future is interesting.
Yeah, keeping a tab on that and people actually taking, the responsibility of learning something new because the opportunities really they are there. We just need to challenge ourselves, knowing fully well that things are constantly changing. And you know what? It's better to change before you are forced to change.
Exactly. And now employers have now forced to train and retrain,
Yeah,
because you have to repurpose the people you have. If there's no
absolutely.
point in having this person do these things that can
Hmm.
now, but then instead of saying, oh, you don't forget, a person is not just bringing a skill, they are bringing cultural fits, they're
Yes.
bringing, their personality, they are bringing togetherness. So you can
Yeah.
repurpose this person's role into something else that can
Mhm.
also benefit, because now they understand the culture of the organization. So it doesn't mean your job is gone. It just means
Exactly.
the definition of your job might change.
Might
That is this.
change and it will involve learning something new. And I
Yeah.
like how you talk about repurposing the knowledge the people who are already working for the organization have, because I mean for the first time I think we have about 5 generations within our organizations. I think I read the report
Wow.
along those lines. So which means we have maybe people who are in their 60s, and then we have young people who are barely in their 20s within the same organization. So it is not so much, all this technology means everybody who, the baby boomers are out the door. It is about repurposing those people's, skills and talents and everything, especially when they've been with the organization for a while. They understand the culture, they understand how things work. So again, it's about repurposing and it's about learning. We can't run away from learning.
Absolutely.
We can't run away from that. Fantastic. Just two more questions. The ascendancy of millennials and Gen Z in the workplace means leadership needs to respond differently. We've sort of touched on that. What is your advice for leaders to attract and retain Gen Z? Because, like you said at the very beginning, even organizations like Google, I was shocked when I read that the maximum people stays about an average of 2 years. I was shocked because Google ranks very, very highly as one of the best places to work. So you would think when people get in there, they want to be there forever. But I
Mm-mm.
was shocked to read that the turnover is about 2 years. So
Yes.
what do you say to leadership trying to, adapt to retain and to attract and retain?
I'll say that it's a everyone you speak to,
Mm,
every company that is growing, one of
mhm,
the problems they have is
mhm.
retaining talent.
Yes.
And for the first time, Gen Zs are now pretty much the ones that are working a whole lot at the
Mhm,
moment, and millennials.
mhm.
As, and what they want is different.
Yes.
So employers are beginning to see, and I think COVID basically fast tracked that a whole lot more.
Yes.
Are beginning to see that a lot of things matters to people. So it's not just gone are the days when you are in control and you as an employer and just like this is what I'm looking for, apply
Mhm,
if you want. Now people are looking at it. Who is this company I want to work for? Do they
mhm.
value sustainability? How
Yeah.
is their approach to climate change? Because all of
Yeah.
a sudden we are the Gen Zs are
Mm.
more interested not about just the now, but the future.
Yeah, because it's their future, isn't it?
Exactly. And so for the first time, we have a generation that speaks out, that is bold.
Yes. Very bold.
Because they're bold, this is like a whole new surprise for employers. And I think the way employers now need to adapt this is now to understand that, okay, things that are important to this generation, you have to see them as important. You have a whole lot of organizations that are now going big up so that they could now start to understand. People are printing out their own ESG reports. People are really trying, and this is not just to say we're printing our ESG report for printing our ESG report, but it's also to address the issue of the Gen Z, the millennials, but also to make the organizations see that, okay, yes, they're actually an organization for good. And this is the standard. They are being held accountable
Accountable.
for exactly, yes, you can make money by doing business, but take
Yeah.
care of our environment in the process. Take care of our people in the process and treat people, equally in the process. So are we there yet?
Mm.
No, but are we closer? We are closer than yesterday. And
Absolutely.
that is what we are saying. So now organizations, employers now need to know that flexible working has come to stay. I don't
It
see how
has
you're
come
going
to
to
stay. It
that.
has. It
So
has.
yeah, because people are beginning to see that their life is not just all about work. It's about work, it's about their families,
Balance.
about their mental health, it's all about trying to strike that balance. And in order for them to do that, if you're spending 5 days at work now, me being an employer, I have to put my caveat on this because it can just backfire on me. But what I'm trying to say, like in my company, what we do is you do 3 days in the office, 2 days at home. We were
Right.
doing 4 days in the office, one day at home, I think since 2016. This has nothing to do with COVID. This is like
Right.
we started it like that because
Right.
we realized that you just want to, have a not a early morning to just catch a train or
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And those kind of places,
Mm-hmm.
because of those sort of policies, you
Mm-hmm.
tend to have low employee turnover because
Yeah.
if they're thinking about, okay, yeah, I might not like this place for this and this, but I love it for this.
Yeah.
I get this if I go somewhere else.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people that will tell us, oh my God, this is one of the best places I've ever worked. In fact, this is the best because of this.
Yeah.
I think employers just needs to listen more.
Yeah.
Listening to millennials and Gen Zs will help them not only build a better company, but
Hmm.
also help them to retain and attract this sort of people while doing good for the environment at the same time.
Absolutely. You know, they, like you said, they want, what they want is totally different. Mental health is high on the list.
Mm,
Well-being is high on the list. I mean, talking about COVID, I mean, COVID really fast-tracked this for us, because before now we were all just running everywhere like, like rats, if you like. They call it the rat race anyway. Since COVID, I haven't stepped foot in any office since COVID. I've worked from
wow.
home. I haven't stepped foot in any office. I've worked from home since COVID. All the opportunities that have come my way have been fully remote, and
Notes.
somehow I've just stuck to, fully remote engagement. So far, I work for myself, so
Yeah.
I guess I've been able.
How do you think that has actually helped you basically shape your the
A
future of
lot.
your work?
Before COVID, I was even working in Brussels. I worked in Brussels, I worked in Norway. So I would go for the entire week and come back at the weekend. And the weekends where I felt I was just too tired, I stayed back there and just had a, quiet weekend. But that was my life for a good 3 years, working outside of the United Kingdom, right? So when COVID came, I was like, you know, when you just could not comprehend how much you were all over the place before.
Mm,
And to just be home and be able to work from home. I'm an early bird. I wake up very early.
right.
By 5:30, I'm already in front of my laptop. I'm a very early person. That's when my brain is at its peak. And because I write content a lot, training content, I come downstairs, I spend the first 2 hours doing my stuff and things like that. So for me, 5 o'clock, I'm down. Sometimes I'm doing work. I'm doing actual work as well, depending on where the flow is for me. So I have done so much
Mm,
during in the last 3 years than I've ever done, especially when it comes to my own development.
right.
I've done a lot of training via Zoom. I've trained people. I have been trained, you know. So I wouldn't lie. I am enjoying this working from home, but I also miss, how you go to the pub on a Friday with your
Yeah.
colleagues and stuff like that. But guess what? Most of the jobs, the consultancy work that's coming my way, they are distributed teams too. So, for example, I could have like a team that is like some in India, some in Brazil, some in America, really, really distributed. So,
Yeah.
where do I go? Do I go to Brazil? Do I go to India? Where do I go? Again, we also have to be disciplined also, not to be sitting down too much.
Yeah.
So I have a yo-yo desk. So sometimes I'm sitting down, sometimes I'm standing up. Exactly.
Okay.
And you talked about well-being, you talked about mental health. So we really need to pay attention to all of that working from
Okay.
home, because you could just end up just being on that chair a lot. It's
Exactly.
not,
You have
yeah,
to
a
find the
lot.
balance. You have to
Yeah,
find a
yeah,
way putting exercise and all of that into it because
yeah,
it all adds up.
yeah. Yeah, I have a step right here near me, but I don't use it enough. I can use it more. It's right here so that I can use it, but I'm not using it enough.
Isn't
I
it
need to,
as much?
yes, I need to use it more. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, it all adds up, right? Okay, and my last question, and then I can let you go. Given our current reality and growing trend, what will your advice be to school leavers joining the workforce? You so again touched on it a little bit, but last words.
Yeah, so I feel like right now for school leavers,
Mm,
coming into the workforce is all about you have to be a bit more deliberate about the areas that you go into and what you want to choose. But
right.
you also have to understand that we live in a time where people believe that shortcut is the way to go.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to make them understand that I don't think that's right. I feel like you need to find nothing can really, really replace, the
Yeah.
work and the working smart and pretty much pouring yourself into the things that you do.
Yes.
For school leavers that are leaving, you need to understand that if you're going into the workforce, bring your
Yes.
self, bring your entire personality, bring your initiative, be creative, be able to understand where people are coming from, but also be able to bring new insights
Right.
into into the workforce as well. So employers can value those type of people. You want to make yourself one of those sort of employees that you are like, oh my God, I can't let go of this person. And for you to do that,
Mm.
that you think outside the box and not just confined into a particular space. So those are kind of like creativity at this time is key. Creativity
Mm.
at this time is the solid gold because you can think outside because things are moving so fast. And it's now the world of the creative. How far can you think? How far can you go outside the box? And I feel like this generation that is coming out, it's the most creative generation I think we
They
have.
are.
And I understand that, but applying the principles of in as much as you're creative doesn't is not an excuse for
Mm.
shortcuts. You still have to do and go by proper processes, have your proper systems, and apply and work collaboratively with people. You'll be fine, and you'll find a place that you can actually, blossom.
Absolutely. You've just hit the nail on the head there. They are very creative. They need to be creative. But I also like how you brought in collaboration because you see, we're working in such complex business environments today. No one person has all the answers. We need to be able to collaborate because organizations are leveraging teams, right?
Yeah,
They're leveraging teams, they're leveraging team of teams. So to be able to fit, I mean, you talked about cultural fit earlier on. To be able to fit into a team, to be a team player, keep learning and be able to question the status quo. What value do you bring to the table? Because if you come in and you just fit on a very, should I say, normal level, what makes you different from every
and
other
find
person?
another you somewhere else.
Exactly, they can find another use somewhere else. So it's about coming in and just being pushing the envelope, as it were, in terms of creativity, in terms of just challenging ourselves. Tommie Edwards, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. You are the founder of Tech 1M. Tommie is on LinkedIn. Connect with her. This woman here, she's got so many awards. In fact, if we ask her to start talking about it now, we're going to stay here another hour. And you're a young woman, and you are an inspiration to other young women because it takes just seeing a woman that looks like you to say, you know what, if she can do it, that's an inspiration to me. I can do it too. So I appreciate you. I mean, we're connected on LinkedIn. I appreciate what you're doing. I celebrate you. And I'm happy that you finally made it to Sincerely Agile with Mary. So I can only say we wish you more, more, and more success.
Thank
Thank you so much for investing your time here with us this evening. And I see some comments here. Great discussion, an eye opener. Fantastic. Definitely an eye opener. We need to keep learning. We don't
you.
have to be afraid of AI. The AI will get rid of some jobs, but guess what? It's going to create new and exciting jobs for us. And Olaimi says, thank you, Tommy. Well done, Tommy. So thank you all, everyone, to our viewers. Thank you for spending some time here with us. And Tommy, once again, thank you for being on Sincerely Agile with Mary. And this is where we draw the curtain. Thank you very much, everybody.
For
Bye
having me.
bye. Bye
Bye.
bye.